want to give you a happy birthday because I know 2 days ago you had your birthday. So happy birthday, you right there. Just what'd you do for the birthday? How'd you celebrate? Obviously, big congratulations with the contract and everything in the UFC. But how'd you spend the birthday?
Então, o melhor presente que eu poderia ter ganho foi esse
Yeah, she
contrato,
said that
né?
the best present she could have
E
received
eu
was the
comemorei
contract, so she was really glad that she
comendo,
received
que
it.
é uma
And
das coisas que
besides
eu mais
that, she
gosto de
celebrated
fazer.
by eating, especially
Comi
Japanese
o
food
japonês e
and
curti o meu
having a good
dia.
day.
All right, sounds awesome. What's your favorite Japanese food?
Eu gosto muito dos hots.
Yeah, she likes hot rolls. I don't know if that's something that
Lula,
exists
não
in
sei
the
como que
United
chama,
States.
mas sabe
Sashimi
aquelas
and
rolas empanadas?
especially
Eu
fried
amo, é o meu
octopus.
preferido.
Ooh, okay, okay. Very, very good choices right there. Very cool. And also, I saw that you got to go to the amusement park too. Well, you were in, what was it, Santa Monica? So that looked like fun, right?
Pô, foi muito maneiro, foi...
She said it was really cool.
uma coisa
It's
que
something that she normally only saw
eu
in
via
movies.
só
So it was really
em
great to
filme,
have
né?
a
Então,
full
tá lá
day there. It
presente,
was unfortunate
foi
that was
muito
only one
legal.
day, but it was
Deu pra
great to
aproveitar
have a
um
good
dia
time at the
só, mas
pier.
deu pra dar uma curtida lá no pier.
Yeah, one day is better than no days. So very cool. You got to do that. Everything going great right now. And of course, in the UFC now. So, I mean, just plain and simply, does it feel different, knowing and, realizing that you are part of the UFC now, finally made it?
Então,
Yeah, she said that
uma
it's a
sensação
feeling of a
de,
job well done.
como que eu
Ever
posso
since
dizer,
she
de
migrated to MMA, that
dever
was
cumprido, né?
her
Porque
goal.
desde o dia que eu
And
decidi migrar
so
para o
she's really
MMA,
happy that she
esse
was
foi
able to
sempre o
achieve
meu
it
objetivo.
and begin her journey
Então, eu
now.
tô com uma sensação de...
Yeah, of course. And I mean, did you think it would come sooner? I mean, I feel like a lot of people were thinking maybe after your win before this most recent one, the Helen Harper win, because Helen was on The Ultimate Fighter. She fought in Bellator. Did you feel like maybe you'd get it after that one? Or, does the timing just line up perfectly here?
Então, eu pensava que porque essa luta
She
poderia
said
ser
that she
uma
thought
luta
that
que
the
ia me
Helen Harper
trazer
fight would definitely
visibilidade,
bring
né? Por
her
ela,
some
enfim,
visibility.
ela
But she said
teve
that
passagem
she
pelo
didn't think it
Bellator,
would
pelo
be
TUF,
that quick, actually. She thought that she
mas
would need to
eu não
do some more
acreditaria que
fights, some
seria...
more victories before having
Eu
the
acho
shot.
que eu...
Yeah, of course, very understandable. And getting to be on the Contender Series is a very unique thing, a very unique atmosphere, right? I mean, not many people get to go into a fight knowing like, all right, I get to find out right after this, if I'm getting to go to the place I want to be. So, I mean, what's it like going through that process? I mean, just mentally and having to kind of contain those emotions because I'm sure it's kind of crazy.
Então, é uma oportunidade,
She said it's an
tipo,
incredible
incrível,
opportunity,
né?
and she was
Eu
really
tava levando isso
looking
como
at
luto
this
da
fight
minha
as if it were
vida,
the fight of her life.
mas eu tava sempre
So she
focada
was
no que eu
thinking
iria
a lot about
fazer.
what
Eu
she
tava
could do to be
focada
able to
em
get this
mim,
victory, focusing on
no que eu
that, on
podia
how she could
fazer
improve
para chegar lá
her
e estar
work.
bem preparada.
And it was really
Claro
nice to have the
que
idea
tem
of if
aquele
she would do a
peso,
good
né?
job, that she would
Tipo,
be
se eu
rewarded for that.
ganhar
That was
e
really
eu
cool
fizer
having that idea.
um bom trabalho, eu vou ganhar um
So she just
contrato,
focused on that and focused on the
mas
win.
eu...
Yeah, I mean, instant gratification, right? Just get to celebrate right away. And what was it like being in that atmosphere too? Because your first fight this year and the crowdless atmosphere, right? No fans in attendance. Was that weird for you, or did you even notice it?
Então, eu já estava preparada para lutar, né?
Yeah, she
Desde o
said that she
começo do
was
ano,
already
eu tinha a
prepared since the
ideia
beginning of the
que
year
eu poderia lutar o
to
Contender.
fight.
Se eu
She
não me
was
engano,
expecting
ia
that the
ser em
fight of Contender Series
agosto,
would be a little bit
mas
earlier,
aí acabou que
maybe
foi
in August, she
adiado
said,
e
but that it was
foi para
postponed
novembro.
until November. So she was
Então,
ready. She
desde o
had a
começo
fight
do ano eu
camp
tô
of
nessa
4 months.
expectativa, tô treinando forte, já tava
And since
fazendo
the beginning of the year, she was
tapes
waiting for the
mais de
shot.
4.
Yeah, and I mean, as for the matchup and fight with Frausto itself, I mean, did you imagine it to go that way? Because went about as perfectly as it could have. It wasn't very long. Got a spectacular finish. Was that how it played out in your head beforehand?
Então, não imaginava,
She says she didn't
porque
expect it at all to win it
ela é
like
uma
that. She
boa
knew
striker,
that
ela é
Strauss was
campeã
a good
mundial de Muay
striker.
Thai, eu nem
She
sabia disso,
discovered how
fui
great of a
saber
striker she
depois
was
da
after the
luta.
fight. She didn't know
Ela foi
that,
surpreesa no
her
jiu-jitsu,
experience
então
in
eu
Muay Thai
acreditava
before.
que a trocação ia ser
And she also knew of
mais
her experience in
acirrada
Jiu-Jitsu,
e
that she was a
caso
black
eu
belt, so
grudasse
she
ela
knew
e
that
fizesse o
the
jiu-jitsu,
fight would go to the
não ia
ground. She would
ser
have to
nada
work a
fácil, né?
lot.
Porque ela é uma
But
faixa
she was
preta
ready
de
for it,
jiu-jitsu.
and
Então,
she
por isso
didn't
que eu fiquei
expect it.
tão
So that's why
feliz, né?
she
Na
reacted
hora
the way
eu
she reacted. She
até
felt she might have
admirei,
overreacted a little bit, but
exagerei um
she was so
pouco,
happy she
mas eu não
couldn't control
contive
her
minhas emoções,
emotions.
porque foi até uma surpresa para mim.
No, yeah, it's no overreaction whatsoever. I mean, a great moment, you know. So, I mean, totally proper reacting, right? So, and you know, in your career so far, ever since your MMA debut, just been finishing everybody, literally all of your wins since then. You know, you've just been taking people out with submissions, and the last two, obviously, the knockouts. So, I mean, is that something you think about, like being an exciting, you know, finisher that helps make you stand out, or is it just this is just how things are happening?
Então, no começo da minha carreira, eu
She said
ia
that in the
muito
beginning of her career, she was a
agressiva,
very
eu
aggressive
tinha
fighter that would
isso
always
de,
look
eu
for
vou
the
acabar
finish
no
in the
primeiro
first
round.
round.
Hoje em dia,
But
eu
since
sou
then,
uma
she's
lutadora
become
mais
more
experiente,
experienced
né?
and she's
Eu sei que eu
been
não posso
calculating
ir
more her
para cima
actions.
com tudo,
She says that she
então
studies the
eu
fight very
estudo a
well and
luta
looks for the
e
opportunities, and
eu
that's
vejo
exactly
as
what happened with the fight
oportunidades.
with
E foi o que
Frost, where
aconteceu
an
hoje, uma
opportunity presented
oportunidade
itself
de
and
entrar
she took
nela e
advantage of
acabar com a
it.
luta.
Yeah, no denying that. Proof is in the pudding right there. And, you know, as somebody representing your country of Brazil and everything, being in the strawweight division, you know, we've seen many great Brazilians, you know, throughout the history of the division. So far, you know, Jessica Andrade, Amanda Ribas is doing things now, Claudia Gadelha, you know, list goes on and on of these great Brazilians in your division who have, you know, gone on to have great success. So, I mean, for you, is it important for you to kind of continue that trend and show, you know, Brazil's strength as a in the strawweight division, or yeah, is that something you think about at all?
Sim, com certeza. Eu acho que
She says that every
a
year that
cada
goes
ano que
by,
passa,
new
vão
fighters appear
nascendo
in
grandes
the category,
lutadoras
especially in
e eu fico
Brazil,
muito feliz
and that
em
she's excited to
ser
be part of them, part
mais
of
uma que
these fighters that
está
are gaining more
chegando, né,
visibility and showing
representando o Brasil
their
e espero
strength.
sempre
She said that
chegar
she wants to
lá
continue
e dar o
giving
meu
good
melhor e
performance
dar
and
um
good
show
shows
para o
so that you guys
mundo
continue
e
seeing her
para o
good
povo
work.
brasileiro.
Definitely. And I mean, speaking of that, you know, I'm sure you came out of the fight without any major injuries or anything too crazy, right? It didn't last very long. So I mean, when do you hope to make the big UFC debut? Like, would you like to fight again before the year's over? Like, when are you thinking, ideally, if you could pick?
Então, eu acredito que seja mais pro ano que vem, no começo do
She
ano,
said
em
that she's been
fevereiro,
training a lot
porque
since
eu tô, como eu
the
falei, eu
beginning
tô
of the
treinando
year,
forte desde o começo do
preparing
ano,
or
né?
for Contender Series or for Brave.
Visando, ou
So
eu
she said
iria
that
lutar no
she doesn't think
Contender, ou eu
that
iria lutar no
she'll fight
Brave.
still this year,
Então, eu tô
probably in the
fazendo
beginning of
camp
next year, maybe in
do
February.
começo do ano
Um,
e
She
tem dois
says
anos que eu não
that
vejo
it's been
minha
2 years since
família,
she's seen her
por conta
family,
que
and
sempre
so she's going to
aparece
go
uma
back
luta
today
e eu
to
não
visit
consegui
them
ir
and see
lá.
them, and
E
that'll be a
hoje eu tô
great
indo
time
para
for her to
lá, passar
regain
uma
her
semana com eles,
focus,
repover minhas energias
be in
para eu
contact with
poder
her family,
voltar
and be prepared for
e estar
when
preparada
the
para
next
o
fight
ano
is
que
scheduled.
vem começar com tudo.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's good to hear, you know, because with the holidays coming up and everything, good to see the family for this time of year, of course, as things come, you know, winding down before 2021. And, you know, you got your judo background, and I'm always very curious to hear about fighters and who have judo backgrounds and their transitions from judo, because I feel like it's a different story every time and how people adjusted to it. I mean, historically, the fighters have done very well going from judo to MMA. And, you know, you're another example of that, of course, with all the success you're having. But, you know, that initial transition going from the sport of judo to incorporating like strikes and all that other stuff that you have to do in MMA, what was that like for you? Was it difficult or, you know, pretty easy? How would you describe it?
Aham. Então, no começo, eu
She
achava
said that in
que
the
quando eu vi as
beginning,
lutas da
watching
Amanda,
Ronda
né?
Rousey's
Foi
fights,
ela
which
que
inspired her
me
to
inspirou,
begin
que me
in
deixou
MMA, she
animada
said that she thought it
para
would be very
poder migrar
easy,
para
especially
MMA.
as she
Eu
saw how
achava
easily
que ia ser simples, na minha
Ronda
cabeça
Rousey
ia
brought
ser
fighters to
simples,
the
que
ground,
eu
then
ia
ended
só
up finishing
derrubar
the
igual ela
fights.
derrubava
She thought that she
e
would
ia
be able to do the
conseguir
same thing very easily,
finalizar,
but she
pegar o
discovered
braço
that
ou fazer
in her first training of
qualquer outra
MMA, that
finalização
it was
de
completely
jiu-jitsu.
different than
E
what
aí,
she
no meu primeiro
imagined, that she
treino
would
na
have to
academia, foi
strike and that the boxing
outra
was
coisa
very difficult difficult, but she
diferentes.
said
Na
that
minha cabeça eu
she
pensei,
ended
meu
up
Deus, eu
founding
achava que
a
era muito
love for
fácil. E não, foi
boxing
muito
and that she
difícil,
loves to
principalmente
box,
a parte de
and
trocação de boxe, né?
she
Que
wants
era
to
uma coisa
continue
que eu
working on
nunca
that to
tinha
be
feito na
able
minha
to be
vida,
a full
minha
round
vida
fighter.
inteira.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rhonda made it look a little too easy sometimes, so understandable. And I know that you also, when you were in judo, you were training to be in the Olympics too, like Rhonda was. So just how do you compare like the Olympic training to? Because everybody, says it's like the hardest thing in sports to be able to do, to reach the Olympics, all the training you have to do to get there. And the overall MMA training that you have to do now. I mean, would you say that one's harder than the other, or what's the Olympic training like essentially?
Então, no judô a gente treina só
She said
judô,
that
né?
in
A
judo, the
gente
training is only
aperfeiçoa
focused on judo,
nossas
right?
melhores
So you have to
técnicas, nossos
perfect
melhores
your
golpes
skills.
e a gente
You
se
can
prepara
perfect
para
certain type of
possíveis
abilities,
adversários.
but
Porque não é só um
it's
adversário,
different in the
são
sense that
vários. E
you
de
prepare for
acordo
many
como a
fighters,
chave
not
anda,
just
você
one, right?
pode
So
pegar
there's the
várias pessoas
ranking, and you have to
diferentes,
continue getting up
dependendo
to the
quem vai
ranking to be able to be
avançando. E no
qualified.
MMA é diferente
So
porque
she said that's a little bit different than in
não é
MMA,
só
where in
uma luta,
MMA
você tem que treinar
there
do
are
seu
so many
jeito.
other
Você
types of
tem que
fight, for
treinar
example,
boxe, você
boxing,
tem que
wrestling, Muay
treinar
Thai,
wrestling, você tem que treinar
Jiu-Jitsu.
Muay
So you have
Thai.
to prepare
Então,
for
é
lots of
muito mais
different
amplo
types
do
of
que o
fights and
judô.
outcomes.
Só que no judô, a gente tem muita competição, a
So
gente tem que
she
se
said
classificar em
there's not
várias
one that's more
competições para
difficult than
poder
the other
somar ponto
necessarily.
para
They're
entrar
just
no
both
ranking.
very different.
E aí,
Of course, mentioned Ronda already. Know that she's one of kind of your big inspirations and, favorite fighters that you've watched and seen. So I'm curious, do you have any other inspirations that have helped you along this journey, your favorite fighters you've liked to watch that are not Ronda?
sim, a Honda é primeiro lugar. I love Honda.
She said that she loves Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey comes first place. But she also loves other fighters like TJ Dillashaw, McGregor, especially his striking, Rose Namajunas in her style.
Da trocação
That's
dele, da
basically
distância.
it.
É uma luta.
No, not bad picks at all. Not bad picks at all. And I know that when you were growing up too, you did, a lot of surfing, swimming, and kind of from what I've seen, sounded like you wanted to kind of go in that direction of being a surfer, maybe, and doing things of that nature. So, do you still surf and do swimming for fun, or like what's the status there with the other side hobbies?
Então, eu era uma criança muito agitada,
She
né?
said that
Então,
when
eu
she was a
inventava
child, she was
coisa
very
no meu
active
dia
and
inteiro
she
até
would fill
até
her
final
free
de
time
semana.
doing sports.
Durante a
So
semana eu
during the
ia para a
week, she would
escola.
do gymnastics,
Depois do
swimming,
almoço eu
judo,
tinha natação.
indoor
Na natação eu
soccer.
fazia ginástica
She
olímpica.
would
Da
love to
ginástica
surf in
olímpica eu
her free
fazia
time in
judô.
the
Na
weekends,
quarta
but she said
e na
that her father
sexta,
would
se eu
really
não me
stimulate her
engano, eu
to do
eu fazia
judo. So
futsal
that
na
was something
escola.
that she focused
Sábado
more
e
on.
domingo eu fazia handball.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, just being athletic and doing all these other, side sporting type of activities, I'm sure that was helpful in getting you ready for, the more physical activities too. Is that fair to say?
Sim, com certeza.
Yeah, she said
Quando
that
eu
they
treinava judô
definitely
lá,
helped her prepare
eu não fazia
herself,
musculação.
especially
O meu pai me
gymnastics. And she
colocou na
said that
ginástica
gymnastics,
porque
she
ele
would work a
acreditava
lot
que na
with
ginástica eu
strength,
conseguia
flexibility,
adquirir força,
explosion. And
flexibilidade e
also in
explosão.
swimming, she would work
Ginástica
a
é
lot
muito
with
forte, além de forte, eles são
maintaining
explosivos
her
e eles são
energy
muito
through a long
flexíveis também.
time,
Então era
using
como
aerobic
se
and
a
anaerobic
ginástica fosse um complemento para o
exercise.
judô
So that
e a
all those things
natação
together really
me
helped
dava
her
gás, porque
for her work in MMA today.
exercício.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely kind of perfect, other sports, I think, to prepare you for something as demanding as, MMA and fighting another person can be. So definitely see the upside there for those ones. But anyway, Luana, I will leave you with one last thing here. I didn't want to keep you too long, but, of course, not to have you make any call outs or anything like that, but I'm curious if there's anybody you see in the UFC division right now that that you kind of look at and you're like, man, I think that would be a fun match. That's somebody I hope to fight one day for whatever reason it may be. Is there anybody floating around in your mind right now, or you just open to whoever?
Então, eu acredito que é uma
Yeah,
coisa
she said
que
that her judo
falava,
teacher one
o
day
meu
told her
professor
that
de
if you
judô
want to be
sempre
the
falava
champion,
comigo. Ele
you gotta
falava,
fight them
se
all.
você quer ser campeã,
And
se você quer ser
so
campeã,
she
você
really
tem
keeps
que
that in
bater
mind.
todas.
So she doesn't really
Então,
have
não tem
an
um
opponent that
adversário
she
que eu
wants to
gostaria
fight
de
against.
lutar.
She focuses on her
Que nem eu
training,
falei
and she believes that
anteriormente,
working
eu
on
penso em
her
mim,
fighting
eu
skills, she'll be able to
foco
step by step
na minha evolução
get to her
diária
ultimate
e que eu
goal,
vou
which
estar
is becoming the
preparada
champion.
para qualquer uma que eles me derem.
Oh hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, we'll see you next time.